So Trump announces he wants to pull US troops out of Syria. The Pentagon tells him it's not going to happen. And then with the Syrian army and Russia on the verge of defeating ISIS and jihadist rebels in the town of Douma, they launch a massive chemical weapons attack that brings global condemnation, inviting massive US airstrikes across the country. And we're just supposed to swallow this entire narrative without question. No, that's insane. Now let's get this clear. No one is denying that this attack happened and that people were killed. This is horrible. But why is Trump ignoring his own warning from 2013? Again, to our very foolish leader, do not attack Syria. If you do, many very bad things will happen, and from that fight, the US gets nothing. What changed between then and now? Absolutely nothing. Apart from the fact that now ISIS was on the cusp of being eliminated, which is why it makes absolutely no sense for the Russians or the Syrian government to be behind this attack. The jihadist rebel group had agreed to leave the area within 48 hours. They'd lost the battle. 90% of eastern Ghouta was already liberated. Why on earth would the Syrian army sabotage their own victory? And why does almost every chemical weapon attack happen when the Syrian army is about to close in on a rebel stronghold? And what's the evidence here? Unverified footage from the White Helmets, a group with direct links to the very jihadist groups that benefit from this chemical weapons attack. Are we really going to go to war again in the Middle East on the basis of that? With no investigation whatsoever on the basis of Ivanka's tears? Up until 2016 alone, ISIS had used chemical weapons at least 52 times. A rebel-held chemical weapons factory was discovered in the same region where this happened just a few weeks ago. They found materials and plans for some of the very same chemical weapons used in this attack. Russia warned last month that militants were preparing to falsify a government chemical attack against civilians. How do we know this wasn't a false flag, given that Islamist rebels have been responsible for staging chemical weapons attacks on numerous previous occasions? It took nearly a year for Secretary of Defense James Mattis to admit there was no evidence the Syrian government was behind last year's chemical weapons attack. The attack that prompted Trump to order airstrikes against the Shayrat airbase. So why the rush to war with no real investigation of what happened? If President Obama had crossed his stated red line in the sand, the Syrian disaster would have ended long ago. Animal Assad would have been history. Yeah, and ISIS would be running the damn country. How is an attack on Syria going to resonate with Trump's base? Not very well if this poll's anything to go by. After more than 20,000 votes, 66% oppose intervention in Syria. Forget Make America Great Again. This is Make America ISIS's Air Force again. And it's completely deranged. This is the opposite of what Trump supporters voted for.
She wants to fight for rebels. There's only one problem. You don't even know who the rebels are. I don't like Assad at all, but Assad is killing ISIS. Russia is killing ISIS.
This is the same lunatic foreign policy that Hillary Clinton would have followed if she'd have won the election. The base gets that, but most Republicans don't. After last year's airstrike, which again was based on flimsy or no evidence whatsoever, 84% of Republicans approved of it, and Trump's approval ratings went higher. Is Trump deliberately embroiling the US in another war as a stunt to help the Republicans in the midterms? Just this week, a CNBC piece mentioned a conveniently timed war to do just that. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? We can only hope that cooler heads prevail, because a full-scale attack on Syria would only embolden and empower the very jihadist rebels Trump vowed to eliminate. It would be disastrous for the Middle East and for the thousands more US troops fed into that interminable meat grinder. Mr. President, this is absurd. This is suicidal. This is reckless. This is not America first. This is the deep state winning.